and there are 2 olive trees by it, one on the right of the bowl and the other on its left. So there's these olive trees. Then go down to verse 11. Then I said, what are these 2 olive trees on the right and the left of the lampstand? So there they are, and then in verse 14 is kind of the answer to that. Verse 14. Then he said, these are the 2 anointed ones who stand by the Lord of the whole earth. So when in the book of Revelation it says, these are the 2 olive trees, it probably refers back to that Zechariah prophecy that these 2 witnesses are this. Now the olive tree, of course, is hugely symbolic. It's one of the oldest trees. It grows to be very, very old. I hate to say it, but they're older than the coastal redwood trees. Coastal redwoods can go 1,500 to 2,000 years old, perhaps longer, I don't know. But these olive trees go 2,000, 3,000. They think some are 4,000 years old. They think there's some olive trees in the Middle East that are 3,000 years old, still bearing olives. Isn't that amazing? That's a very old fruit tree. I'd kind of like to have some of that olive oil. It's probably really cheap, No, seriously, they have like 7 trees in all of the Holy Land that they think are that old. Quite amazing. So it's a sense of longevity, strength, endurance. I love coastal redwood trees. One of the cool things about coastal redwood trees, they really are. Many of them are 1,500 years old. And if you do studies on them, you can go back in and find out, this guy survived fire every 150 years, or every 200 years. There was a forest fire in here. And there's evidence of that throughout the tree. They survived all of these attacks on them. So these 2 witnesses are kind of the idea of the Word of God is durable and lasting. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands, of course, the light of the Word of God, that stand before the Lord of the earth. Very similar language to that which we found in Zechariah 4:14. So it's kind of exciting that these guys are special. Then there comes the hard part, in a sense. And if anyone would harm them, fire pours from their mouth and consumes their foes. If anyone would harm them, this is how he is doomed to be killed. Let me finish the rest here before I make many comments on it. They have the power to shut the sky that no rain may fall during the days of their prophesying, and they have power over the waters to turn them into blood and to strike the earth with every kind of plague as often as they desire. Whew. So these guys are unusual preachers. First of all, this is a radical departure from what we're commanded to do by Jesus today. Today we're to love our enemies, to be kind to them, and if they persecute us, what does Jesus say? Bless them, help them. Don't curse them, don't bring fire on them. There's a change in the economy of God. There's a change in how God is going to respond to opposition to the Word of God in these 2 witnesses. So they become untouchable. They're completely, what's the word I'm looking for? They're completely safe. No one can get them because they have unbelievable powers. And the powers are reminiscent to other biblical examples. Elijah called down fire from heaven and it consumed a massive sacrifice that was doused in water. Moses called down, in a sense, the plagues in Egypt that we have talked about a little bit before. So these are not unusual kind of events. But these guys have power. And so this is kind of a weird image, but, there you go. That guy can deal with people who oppose him, apparently, he's able to breathe out fire on his enemies. Let's get rid of that image, go to this image. This is amazing here, right? They generate hate. People are scared of them. People don't like their message, and they don't like how much power they have, and they don't like that somebody's got to do something about this. Somebody's got to get after these guys. Why can't our government come at them and figure this out? They're frustrated, they're angry, they're the focus of hatred. What are they doing? They're witnessing, they're continually preaching about God. They're my witnesses, God says. They're standing for the truth. I think they're preaching the gospel too. They're saying you can be saved through faith in Jesus Christ. In the idea of the revelation and the tribulation, we believe that there's many people who come to Christ during that period of time in God's mercy and kindness. See, what is this? It's about God reaching out again and again and again and again. God is witnessing, bringing people to himself, even in amidst of a time when you think, well, there is no grace or mercy there. But there is. This is the mercy of God. So there's this generated hatred of them. And when they have finished their testimony, God says, okay, it's finished. You've done what you're supposed to do. Your time there is over. The beast that rises from the bottomless pit, remember the pit was unlocked and the locust came out of it a few pages ago. He will make war on them and conquer them and kill them. And their dead bodies will lie in the street. This is amazing, this description here. Look at this description. It's talking about Jerusalem, Zion, holy Mount Zion, the city of God. It says, lie in the street of the great city that is symbolically called Sodom and Egypt. God's city is in so much rebellion against God at this time that it is similar to Sodom and it is similar to Egypt. And just to clarify, he says, by the way, I am talking about Jerusalem, where their Lord was crucified. So, they're laying there in the street. Look at this description. For 3.5 days, reminiscent of the 3.5 years perhaps. 3.5 days, some from the peoples and tribes and languages and nations will gaze at their dead bodies. So I think there's a group of people who come. I got to see this in person. Also, you can imagine a live webcam, right? In John's day, he could not have imagined a live webcam, but in this, that could happen. People are staring at it. For us, I don't know if you remember when Ruth Bader Ginsburg was lying in state in the Capitol. There was a live webcam there. She was out in front of the court. The Supreme Court is quite an amazing view, an image there that we saw recently.